So the unemployment numbers are out, and it is really interesting. Let me give you this premise first, Pat, and you tell me if you think this is a legitimate premise. The election is coming in November. That part I think you'd agree with.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a bunch of jobs because of the coronavirus situation, and we're bouncing back now.
Yes.
If Donald Trump can bounce that back to the levels we were at before the coronavirus, he's likely to be elected.
I would think
reelected,
so.
Right?
Because that would be incredible.
That would
really.
be the V. If this was just and again, a lot of people have died. I'm not minimizing the COVID situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if what we have here is a situation that we're hit out of nowhere with a global pandemic, the worst one we've seen in 100 years, and our economy has bounced back to full levels or close to full levels within, 8 months, 7 months, that is a really good case for the president to make. Like the president can say he will have a good argument to make to the American people at that time. And so we're seeing these numbers come in now, and there is a bounce back. Will it get to those levels? I don't know. Let me give you a couple of numbers here, Pat. Let's go back to a year ago. This is the unemployment rate every month. 3.5, 3.6, 3.5, 3.5. Let me go into 2020. 3.6, 3.5, March 4.4, April 14.7. So 14.7 is
that's a big jump.
A big jump.
10 points in 1 month. That was huge.
May drops from 14.7 to 13.3.
And by the way, keep in mind, we thought it was going to keep going up.
Yeah.
It might hit 20 or 30% is what they were saying.
Yeah. I mean, when 14.7 came out, there were a lot of calls of north of 20%. The predictions did not come to pass. 14.7 in April.
Instead, it went down.
Right. 13.3 in May. 11.1 in June.
Wow.
10.2 in July. And today's number came out just a few hours ago, 8.4%.
8.4%.
Now, 8.4%.
Wow. That's high.
High. We were just talking about 3.5, 3.6, right?
But when was it 8.4% last?
This is fascinating. And
just trying to think.
8.4 to me still feels really high for an unemployment rate. Right?
But not after 14.7.
Not after 14.7, but it still seems like, we still got a ways to go.
Pretty high, yeah.
Well, the last time we had an 8.4% unemployment rate was actually 8.5.
Barack Obama.
December 2011.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was fascinating, Pat, is if you look at this we had Barack Obama for 2 terms, right?
Yep.
And then we have Donald Trump, and Donald Trump comes in, and he's running for re-election. So if we look at the exact same time in Barack Obama's presidency, we'd be a few months before his election in 2012. If you go back to the exact same month, August 2012, as compared to August 2020. Now, remember, no coronavirus in August 2012. In August 2020, the unemployment rate is 8.4%. In August 2012, it was 8.1%. So
wow.
He's running
That's amazing.
right now as almost
amazing.
Identical unemployment rate as the brilliant economy of Barack Obama that was praised universally at the time.
Somebody should be talking about that.
And you know what? Next month, he's going to be ahead probably, because if this continues to improve, the next month, September 2012, it was 7.8. Same with October for Barack Obama going into his election. 7.8.
Well, and you remember at its highest, when it peaked, and it was before the election campaign. I think it was in 2010, maybe 2011, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And it was, if I remember correctly, 9.8%.
Yeah, 9.9.
9.9?
In March and April of 2010.
Okay. And
now,
what did he say about that? Well, at least it's not 13 or 14 or 15%.
Yep.
It's not 15%.
And that was when we came up with the whole metric of created and saved jobs. Remember that?
Yes.
The created or saved jobs metric, which we were like, wait a minute, what is that metric? Well, you just invented that out of thin air.
Which they did.
So 8.4%. Now that means we still have a ways to go, but we are going in the right track. Let me give you the job loss numbers here. So this is, we bounced around flat here for a while. So we had, let me see, I'm going to look this up real quick, pull this up for you. So this is labor force participation rate. Give you this. So we're at, here we go. Sorry, I'm looking at a bunch of different stats here at the same time. Okay, here we go. Job losses and gains. This is the easiest one for people to understand.
Is this the one where we were getting like 200,000-300,000 people
exactly.
per month?
So you have, this is people going back to work getting jobs. Here we go. So this is going back to September again of 2019. Gained 208,000 jobs, 185,000 jobs gained, plus 261, plus 184.
So times are really good. We're doing hundreds of thousands every month.
Solid numbers.
Yeah.
Plus 214, plus 251. That's February 2020. Then the coronavirus thing kicks in. We go minus 1.4 million. Okay. Yep. Now that number is massive, minus 1.4 million.
Massive.
That's
but there were forced closures everywhere.
Exactly, which is why April is a little uglier than March.
Yeah,
so
just
minus
a teeny bit.
1.4 million in March, minus 20.8 million.
Yeah, that was
in
a shock
April.
to the system.
20.8 million.
Almost 21 million people in a month.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's rough. However,
that's a body blow right there to the economy.
Then you go plus 2.7 million in May.
So right after the 20 million lost, the next month we gained. How many?
2.7 million.
Wow.
Which again, 2.7 million would be, there's this ridiculous thing, both sides going back and forth, where the left is saying, this is the worst year ever. And the Republicans are now starting to say, this was the best month ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, both of those are ridiculous, right? Like, we're bouncing back, and that's great. But we had a lot of room to bounce back. And the idea that you're going to point this as like, oh, this economy is crashing. I can't believe Donald Trump. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a little thing we're dealing with right now called a pandemic. It's kind of a big deal. So we go minus 20.8 million in April, then plus 2.7 million jobs in May, then plus 4.8 million in June.
Wow.
Then in July, plus 1.7 million. And in August, plus 1.4 million. That's the new number. So the job losses in March and April were 22.1 million. The job gains since then have been 10.6 million.
We've gotten almost half
basically
of them
about
back.
halfway there so far.
Wow.
Now, the negative look at that is to say it's slowing, right? We went 4.8 million, 1.7, 1.3 in the last 3 months. So it is the rate is slowing. And if it doesn't pick up, we are not going to get back to full by November, which is a ridiculous. I mean, that would be incredible, to be honest. I don't expect that.
Would.
If you can show
but
real
that would
improvement
be the
in the economy,
recovery that they're looking for.
Right. It would be inarguable, right? If they could get back,
and that would
to
be nice to have an inarguable
point.
Yes,
that would be nice. I don't think we're going to get all the way there. He's got 2 more months. Trump's got 2 more months because remember, we will not have November numbers by the election. Obviously, we'll still be in November. However, I think we get October. Maybe we'll even have October numbers. He at least has 1 more month of September.
Yeah, I think they'll come out that Thursday, right?
We'll have.
So that'll be Tuesday.
It will be after, right? Because it's the first Tuesday of November, first Thursday. Yeah, so we will not. So he's got 1 more month here. He could probably tack on a couple million more, and he will have the weekly reports that will have come in before the election. So he'll have an argument as to, but probably what you're looking at if we're looking at this realistically. Donald Trump is probably going to be telling you the night before the election that he's brought back between 60 and 70% of these jobs.
Which is great, really.
Which is, look, it's pretty impressive in a few months.
The problem is some of the businesses that were forced into being shut down are not coming back.
No.
And so neither are those jobs.
No.
So you've lost, already in New Jersey, you lost 30% of all restaurants.
Jeez.
And they're thinking that might go to 50% before it's done. And New York still isn't open for indoor dining yet.
Which is incredible.
So you got all those restaurants struggling to make ends meet on 25% of outdoor area being filled every day. Well, that's not enough for these guys to make ends meet.
Of course not.
So
that's why
that's the problem.
And this is the thing I keep coming back to. The problem, a big problem with this economic argument is that so much of it is in the hands of one of the worst people in our society, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Because we all understand, even most libertarians I've talked to about this, understand and agree that when the government comes to you and says you need to stay home for a couple months, the government needs to step in and make that right. It's almost, it's closer to... it's closer to a eminent domain situation than it is a bailout, right? It's basically saying, we're going to take this from you. We're going to take 2 months of your work. Yeah. Here's your compensation.
And when that's forced on you by the government, then the government's responsibility is to you to make that right.
Almost everyone agrees that should be, that should happen for a short time,
Yeah.
not forever, but for a time, there should be some sort of government exchange. So that happened, and it did protect. Obviously, there's some ability to be able to just pay your way out of these problems for a short time. So that's what we did. We spent trillions of dollars to make it so it was only 20 million people who were losing their jobs and not 70.
Right.
So that has happened. It is also now expiring. If you were on unemployment, you know this. If you're one of those 20 million people, you know this, right? Where you lost your job, the unemployment, they gave you the $600 a week bonus, basically, to cover the fact that they told you that you had to lose your job. And that has now run out. If you were a small business, they gave you money to bridge the gap here. That has now run out.
And not everybody got it.
And not everybody got it anyway. It was not well run anyway. It was, it was thrown together.
It's the government. That's how they do things.
This is what happens,
not
right?
well.
So now that's all expired.
Yeah.
The Republicans and Democrats both say that it should continue, obviously. And now Nancy Pelosi isn't even, she's not even negotiating about it because she knows she holds this in her hands. And if you are one of these people who think that Nancy Pelosi cares so much about people that she won't destroy the economy for a couple of months to get Donald Trump out of office.
Of course she would.
Of course she would, right? Like, I don't know that there's a hesitation in me that says that Nancy Pelosi would, if she's going to have a choice between potentially helping Donald Trump's election and hurting millions of people. Not every Democrat I would say this about. Nancy Pelosi, I absolutely say it about. She would much more prefer.
She doesn't want the economy to come back.
Not until November.
She doesn't want the jobs to come back.
She may, right. Not until November, at least.
Right.
If they win, she'll be happy to try to bring them back. But this is something where basically Republicans are agreeing with Democrats. Yeah, I know we got to throw trillions of dollars at this problem. And so these numbers may get worse because of what is happening with this government program. Yeah. Again, like we all realize this is not sustainable. We can't just pay our way out of this forever. But to try to bridge this gap is important. And look, she doesn't want to do it because she knows it's going to help Donald Trump. So either one or two things are going to happen. She's either going to not further this government program, which is going to obviously hurt in the short term, or she is going to extract such severe penalties and ask for such crazy crap that we may not want to sign it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a tough spot for Republicans right now.